everybody knows we don't need another Jeff Bezos. People are looking into me at like, how do you get all of this stuff done, accomplish all these things? It's because I'm just pressing some buttons and making my robots do my bidding for me. If you're not keeping up with the times and using these tools, you are going to fall behind in terms of lead generation, lead nurturing, the customer service and fulfillment. With any tool or knowledge comes responsibility. The way that you use these tools can either be for good or bad. We have seen what a profit-focused company can do. And unfortunately, when they no longer can innovate for a profit, they now remove services and benefits and they'll lay off people. Waking up, doing your typical 9 to 5, spending 40 hours, and then it's an hour drive there, and then it's an hour drive back. And I get 2 hours to myself every evening, and I'm still struggling to pay bills. That does not sound like a fun life. And that may be something that millions of Americans and people around the world experience and are going through.
Welcome to Meaningful Marketing, Mentoring, Mattering with me, Joseph Alcantara. Together, we'll uncover the power of purpose, experience mentorship magic, unpack ways to make a difference, and find transformative journeys as a community. Welcome to another episode of Meaningful Marketing, Mentoring, Mattering with me, Joseph Alcantara. And today we're going to talk about a very hot and relevant topic. It's about digitizing and future-proofing startups in today's very crazy world of digital, tech, AI, you name it. A lot of people are talking about all these buzzwords right now. And we are very fortunate to have with us a very credible guest who can talk us through his journey and the service that he's actually providing as well. His name is Chris Troka. He is a creative entrepreneur with more than 10 years of experience in creating, improving, and accelerating businesses. He founded Focused Biz, a digital service provider specializing in website, marketing, and technology solutions that leverage AI, automation, CRM, and social media to build relationships and generate leads. And he also runs a very interesting business, a wedding DJ and a photo booth service that has won multiple awards from The Knot. So please welcome to the podcast, Chris Troka. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Joseph, great to meet you. What an intro, man. That was excellent. Thank you for that.
Well, you have a very interesting story, especially about the juxtaposition of that unique story of being a wedding DJ, having that service business, but also at the same time, being very savvy when it comes to digital. So let's start from the very beginning. Tell us about your meaningful life story, your personal background from your childhood to where you are today.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you. I'd like to make this as short and concise as possible, at least to keep viewers entertained. But starting out, I loved mowing my neighbor's lawn, doing lemonade stands. I saw a lot of opportunity, and I always wanted to be a business owner and entrepreneur. I played in a band, so I had this kind of early love for music and songwriting. It wasn't until I was working at a nonprofit healthcare organization where I was running the Meals on Wheels and Final Hours program, where my bosses, both of them were women. Happy National Women's Day to everyone. Both of my female bosses were very inspirational and helpful with the knowledge and the tools that they provided for me. And they provided me opportunities. My boss's boss said, "Can you use your old band equipment to DJ my friend's wedding? We have an iTunes laptop. Just play music and like hop on that mic sometimes and do that." I was like, okay, interesting. I tried it. It was a lot of fun. And I realized, wow, there's an opportunity here. And that was really cool to have my mentors kind of share that with me. So I built my own website. I got into Thumbtack, a lead generation service, and started to learn all I could about digital marketing and sales, because you have to be good at that in order to have a profitable business, in order to reinvest and actually grow from there. So over the years, we finally, went from events and anniversaries and niched and specialized into weddings. Then I began building a team of DJs. And it was around that point where we had this opportunity to go back to school, and I got my degree in marketing. So this was just kind of solidifying the foundation that I had built previously, and that motivated me and gave me some more dedication to grow my business. So then the wedding DJ turned into my full-time job. 2020 COVID hit. We were able to get past that. And from there, it's been an incredible journey of being my full-time position. because of the marketing and everything I had to learn, I realized not only could I build my business, I could build others. So I built my family and friends business and turned that into a service, and then fell in love with technology and tools. And I'm just every day I'm learning something new. The AI is changing every day. I'm learning a new tool almost every other day. It's been incredible. But that's just a very long-winded version of my history getting into business and where I am today.
Well, I love that. I love the peaks and troughs. I love the entrepreneurial spirit that was started by that. Okay, let's start with the lemonade. Let's serve a nonprofit, and then help support these two wonderful women who actually jump started where you are right now. Diving into the specifics of that aha moment of I am going to be in digital marketing and I'm so interested with the business technology world. What triggered that, and what sparked that inspiration that this will be my niche and this is where I would be taking my horizon into?
Absolutely. So it's kind of funny. It goes back to that same wonderful, inspiring woman that first gave me the idea to DJ her friend's wedding. She was the director of that organization, in charge of a lot of the marketing and fundraising initiatives for the nonprofit. She was there for about 8 years and then left to start her own digital marketing agency. She was in business for about a year and then brought on my other boss. And then she had a position opening for an admin assistant. And I was in between jobs at the time, still trying to make the DJ service profitable enough to justify going full time. And she invited and welcomed me into her marketing agency to be the paid ad specialist, which I had quite a bit of experience with that, already on my own independently. And just the training and the tools that she introduced me to as a part of her own marketing agency. She even said to me, "Oh, some of the things you can learn here would be great for your DJ business." So she kept planting these seeds and ideas into my mind. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I could." So I learned HubSpot CRM and all the wonderful tools that are within that software, and how much easier that can make my life, but then also improve the buyer's experience and the customer's journey. I think I realized too early on, I was making a lot of the typical rookie mistakes. When it comes to entrepreneurship, we all do, but we try to learn from those. I used to put so much friction into the customer experience. I would make them print out a contract and then sign it and mail it to me in a world where not everyone even has a working printer at home. And I would say, send me a check in a world of Venmo and PayPal. And I'm like, Chris, what are you doing here? So I finally realized, okay, what if I actually remove friction from the entire buyer's journey, make this a truly easy experience for couples to learn more about me, to book, and then to service and fulfill the clients. So over the years, I started implementing more tools and technology just to improve that entire buyer's journey, from A to Z. But that was kind of my aha moment, was working in that digital marketing agency, getting introduced to a few of these tools. And then from there, I just kind of took it and ran with it.
It's like you were thrown to the fire and then you learned by doing and you continued to test. But what really, struck me the most was when you said that you had a lot of mistakes. You tried to do a lot of things, and then when things were not progressing or moving on the direction where you intended for them to be, then you pivoted and you kind of changed a bit. So I think my next question would be, because when you were starting as a solopreneur, I'm sure a lot of tech startups or non tech startups are also experiencing these challenges. So, what are the biggest challenges that you think that these non tech startups or tech startups are experiencing? And how can they navigate through these hurdles, especially in today's world where everything changes every second because everything is just so fast?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to, kind of overcoming those obstacles and the hurdles that come their way, especially in the startup world, is I believe it comes down to a lack of focus and clarity, and people are lacking this confidence in what they're doing, or they don't have a strategy or game plan that will help guide them on their journey. Because as entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, we have a lot going on. There's literally so many things going on in a single given day, and we have so many new ideas that come through. It's tough to try to stay on top of those and stay organized. So I think what early on tech startups really need to do is look internally at their own tech stack and make sure that they can find the perfect balance between personalization and automation. Now, there's a lot of cool tools out there, and especially now with AI being introduced, that can individualize the message outreach and the follow up based on human behavior. And there's a lot of complex things that go into it. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is to balance that personalization and automation, and then find a game plan and stick with it. Again, there's a lot of things going on and we feel like we're being pulled in 1,000 directions, but make sure you create a game plan, stick with it and follow through. Then you can kind of do this strategizing after the fact and say, okay, is this working? What can we do different? What can we improve going forward? So look at that tech stack, make sure you can automate, but keep the personalization and focus on building relationships.
Let me break that down into two separate pieces. I love the whole idea of automation and personalization because that's the name of marketing right now. We're gone are the days where it's all about reach and frequency. It's more about what appeals to me as a Joseph in terms of my demographic, psychographic, and my behavior and interests. But also at the same time, on the back end of it, you've talked about, the tech stack of a specific company. If we are talking, say, for example, to a non-tech marketer or a non-tech CEO, for example, who's probably not to sound like an ageist, but if you're talking to a 50-ish, 60-year-old business owner who doesn't know tech stack or doesn't know how to employ these amazing new technologies, how will you educate them, and what would be the things that you will first introduce to them so that they will eventually see the benefits of these great ideas before they actually go into the more sophisticated approach of personalization and automation?
Oh, absolutely, Joseph. That's a fantastic question. And I don't think it's ageist at all just to recognize just the advancements and very fast evolution of technology in today's world. Even myself, I'm 34 years old. I kind of grew up with technology, like in that middle ground between we grew up with technology, but it wasn't ingrained into our life as much as maybe the younger generations, Gen Z specifically. Um, but you can kind of see that difference between their understanding and appreciation for technology and advancements in that. So when it comes to, kind of first introducing AI technology automation into a business that has an older generation to it, that's a challenge because they love consistency. They know what has worked for them, and they're not interested in learning something new. So that's a big challenge in itself. Even if they recognize there is a need and there is a problem that needs to be solved, getting them to understand that your life would be easier with this technology implemented, if they're open to change. And that's always a challenge. Some fun icebreakers you can do, because I'm a guy who loves music. There's a tool out there that's an AI music creator. So you either give it some lyrics, you give it a genre or a style that you're going for, and it will create a 2 minute full length song with a verse and a chorus, built with AI. It is incredible.
Mhm.
So I use this as a cool icebreaker, because I'll ask them what their favorite music is, or what are your favorite bands, and then I'll recreate this in an AI program and send that over to them. Then that begins the conversation about, oh wow, that's pretty cool. What can AI do? Another way that focuses more on solving the problem is if there's just one piece of technology that I can implement into their business. Let's say an email automation follow up. That's a great way to stay top of mind with some of your prospects and your leads, your customers, just to help nurture and build a relationship. So with that, we'll introduce a very small tool that we set up for them and make it simple and easy for them to actually implement it. So it's either a matter of, we're going to take your software, use an API webhook connection to make your software talk with ours. And that way they don't even have to think about it or touch it. They just know that there's magical things happening in the background, that they're suddenly more leads are coming in, they're already pre-qualified, they're nurtured. And once I think you explain it to them in that way on how much it can benefit them, no matter the title or what you call it, whether it's AI, tech, automation, all those words are going to be scary to them. If you just kind of introduce them and say, hey, we got this new tool that accomplishes XYZ, and you don't have to think about it, then that can open up the conversation and remove some of those barriers early on. Because again, we're all kind of resistant to change, so I can't blame them. But that would be my advice as far as early icebreakers and kind of introducing technology in a way that's beneficial to them.
That is a great secret ingredient that I think you just spilled in there. I'm
Oops.
sure I think a lot of consultants or digital agencies who are listening right now would be benefiting a lot from that very simple, but I would have to say sound advice, because at the end of the day, it's not about how sophisticated the terminologies or highfalutin they may sound. If they're not clear or they're not convincing or if they're not effective or simple enough for Joe Schmo to understand, it's like you're having to explain what AI is to either a 7-year-old or an 85-year-old, and the simpler it is, the better. And then how you've laid that out is exactly spot on. So I think diving more into that particular tactic, because it's really very interesting. If you were to compare, because you kind of mentioned that you're 34 years old, I'm going to date myself. I'm 44. I'm 10 years older than you. So let's talk about the difference when it comes to the decade. Seeing how digital natives right now, this generation is, both the Zs and the Alphas, and compared to your generation, millennials, and mine, the Gen X and the boomers, how would you define, or how would you see, or what's your take when it comes to the digital transformation and the evolving landscape of marketing in general, or digital, over the last few decades? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? And how do we navigate it?
Of course, I think with any advancement in tools or technology, and just society as a whole, there's that early adaptation period. We kind of struggle to understand what it is. The early adopters want to figure out how we use it, what can we do with it, how can we benefit from it, and just the advancements that we've seen the last 30 years. I mean, literally mobile phones, I think, were just started in like late 80s, early 90s. So that was kind of the beginning. The first very early stages of the internet is where that began in the early 90s. Then we had the 2000s revolution. We had smartphones that were introduced late 2009 or 2010. And just to see that evolution over time, and it seems every 20 years, and then every 10 years, and then every 5 years, the distance between the next big step in technology gets shorter and shorter, which is really interesting. And it's funny because I got my degree in marketing in 2021, and even a year after and today, I feel like the information, most of it, unfortunately, is already outdated. Um, and it's kind of funny because we see, even though I'm a digital marketer and I promote that, I don't have a personal Instagram page. I'm just using Facebook. I just now started getting into TikTok because I know a lot of our clients are interested in that. So, even for myself, I'm not really like gung ho into like, I want to like learn all these tools, and like, it just feels like a lot. And our generation, depending on where we're at, we just see a certain type of value assigned to a certain social platform. But to see the advancements that we have, we're just trying to keep up. We want to stay relevant. We need to keep our businesses top of mind, make sure that we're targeting the right people, getting the right message in front of them in the right platform. So that's something we want to consider too, as far as utilizing these social media channels. I know TikTok is much higher in Gen Z demographic than it would be for others. So I know a lot of people, like to use TikTok as the buzzword, and they think they're going to go viral on their first video, and that's going to bring them a ton of local business. And I try to remind them that, a lot of the views you're going to get are going to be across the United States and global. It's going to be going to the Gen Z population, the majority of them. So just be aware: is that your target market? Is that who's going to ultimately buy your product or your service? Right now? And is that your strategy going forward? Are you planning on nurturing those leads for the next 10 years until they're ready to purchase? Because again, it really depends on what it is that you're offering. But to see this crazy advancement in technology, AI, the tools that I've seen and have been introduced to are just, it's blowing my mind. And it's a little worrisome as far as productivity and the jobs that we currently have. But it'll be interesting to see what the next year, next months, even next week, I'll probably have like 2 or 3 new tools I could send to Joseph. Like, have you checked out this one, man? This is crazy.
I love that because I think the first point that I really love about what you said is like asking ourselves if using this technology, using this platform will be good for us. Are we reaching the right audience? Are we making the right decision when it comes to engaging with them? Is it going to be right for the business? Because you can have a lot on your tech stack. You can check all the boxes when it comes to all the social media platform. You can deploy all the automation tools, but if it's not doing good for your business or it's actually counterproductive when it comes to your overall productivity, then it's actually not helping. So I think that's a great piece of advice. Another thing that you've mentioned, which I like, is like, really looking at what's going to be ahead and realizing that the reality of the world right now is that the advancement when it comes to and the next will come in is just like getting shorter and shorter and not really fighting it because we simply cannot fight it and admitting that, okay, I see this today. I see something new tomorrow that I need to learn because I do not know that. I think continuous learning is really very, very important. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Um, really understanding technology and tools, you don't have to understand how they work, just understand that they can definitely help your business. And if you're not implementing them into your business, your competition will run circles around you and capture your market, and eventually you'll become unprofitable, or you'll get purchased out. And that's unfortunately the way of capitalism today, where we see the mass consolidation of a lot of these companies that are starting out. So my advice to many entrepreneurs and business owners out there is, even if you don't understand AI technology or tools or how they work or how they can benefit you, at least speak to someone who has just a bit of insight into technology and AI and what those could do for you. Because with that free review, it could open your eyes onto what's possible. And again, if you're not keeping up with the times and using these tools, you are going to fall behind in terms of lead generation, lead nurturing, the customer service and fulfillment. There's chatbots that are pre-qualifying your leads via text message now and sending you a payment link and a booking form and making things so easy. If you keep that friction in the buying journey, if you're making people print out a contract and mail a check like I used to almost 10 years ago, you're going to have a bad time. You need to adjust, you need to adapt, and then finally take your business to the next level.
You've mentioned about AI, you've mentioned about social media. CRM is definitely something that you're so much into as well, from prospecting to conversion. What's your favorite part when it comes to digital marketing? Or is it also the paid media aspect of it, which I know is your background across all the entire gamut of digital marketing and marketing technology? What's your favorite?
So that's what's really cool about digital marketing, is that there's such a wide range of subset categories and topics that fall into the realm of digital marketing. It can specialize in advertisements specific to a channel, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, or we specialize in TikTok advertising. And then you also have the search engine optimization, or you have the websites, everything from the graphic design to like the more creative side of your brain. Then you have the data and the analytics on the other side of your brain. Marketing is evolving so quickly that I love the variety. I'm someone who's been of the mindset that always be learning. I'm learning new things every day. I will never like claim to be an expert. I mean, I'm trying to keep up, but how can we ever really know everything about anything ever? I love the variety that digital marketing offers me. And just being able to help a business owner understand the importance of it and the reasoning why we do a few of the things we do. Like, why would we want someone to take this action? Why do we want to put them through this journey on their experience? This allows me to communicate the importance of digital marketing to them and help them understand the perspective of their potential buyer, what they go through in their buying experience. And if I explain it to them in a way that they understand, where I, say, all right, if they have to pick up a phone, that people who are, 35 and under don't like calling. So if you're forcing people to call you, don't expect any leads. Make it nice and easy to fill out a form so that You can reach out to them via email or text, which is becoming their preferred contact method, and even more so, text message. People are opening up text messages and replying to them at a much faster rate than you would with an email. So we have to look at the channels, but you kind of see just this advancement and just the change, how quickly things change around us. So for me, I love that variety. I love all things digital marketing. Big fan of the tools and the technology, because it wasn't until I started using those tools that I became like this superhero entrepreneur. People are looking to me at like, how do you get all of this stuff done and, you know, accomplish all these things? It's because I'm just pressing some buttons and making my robots do my bidding for me. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, you put the systems and the tools and the templates in place, and suddenly your business is just kind of running on autopilot, and you know it's just working.
Love those amazing real life case study advice that I'm sure a lot of DTC entrepreneurs should be adapting as well.
Joseph,
Um,
what is your favorite digital market? What do you love about digital marketing? I have to ask you.
Oh, you know what? I have a very similar answer to yours. The
Yeah.
reason why I asked you that is because I know us generalists, when it comes to marketing, especially in my generation, wherein we did not study social media in university, because I was in university from 1997 to year 2000. And that was not even the start of Facebook or Instagram, right? So seeing the evolution happen right now, every single year and day, as I see something new, makes me more and more interested with the marketing career that I started. And I feel that instead of feeling that I am older, I feel a lot younger because I have to continuously catch up by choice and by interest. So I'll be very honest, the entire gamut of marketing in general, not just digital marketing, I am continuously loving still, from brand marketing to communications to content creation, digital marketing right now across all paid, earned, shared, and owned channels. I love every single bit.
Isn't that so cool? I just love the variety, and I'm glad that you shared your experience with your university and the fact that it was, you know, just over 20 years ago, and that evolution within the digital age. And you're right; it doesn't make us feel older. It makes us feel younger that we're able to adapt to these new channels and new ideas and new trends that are coming through, and just that variety. I mean, the communication piece so important. Digital marketing, the content. Ah, gosh, I love it all.
So yeah, aside from those amazing stuff, you've touched upon something that's quite interesting as well and a little more serious, which is all about being an entrepreneur, serving your clients, and of course, making sure that you have revenue so that you can eventually pay your team and your staff members as well. So what's your style like when it comes to being a business owner, being a consultant, and being a leader and a mentor? What's Chris's style across all those different facets that you play every single day?
Absolutely. So when it came to my professional career, I realized the more friendly and personable I could be as a person, that it was energetic. I feel like people just pick up on the vibe and the energy that's emitting, and the perception can change our reality. So, in you know, if you have a more positive, forward thinking outlook and mindset, you're going to see new opportunities that you would not have seen if you had a negative outlook overall. When I'm working with clients fulfilling services, I like to put an emphasis on communication and making sure that the words that I use, whether it's acronyms or special techie stuff, that I'm able to communicate it in a way that they'll understand. So it's less important for me to sound super wicked smart, but yet I'm going to confuse my client. I would much rather put it into a term that they would understand and communicate that properly so that they hear the message at the end. It's not always about, you know, me getting what's off my chest. It's about, okay, proper communication so that the receiver actually hears and understands your message. And I think that overflows into leadership qualities and entrepreneurship and business. I think the more human company wins, even though we have, you know, our degrees in digital marketing and that's our expertise, whether we're generalists or not, um, don't overlook the fact that relationships and human connection are still incredibly important, and all of those tools should just supplement how you build relationships. They shouldn't be your main form of connecting with people. So I feel the more that we can make ourselves human, our companies human, be genuine, provide value, don't expect things in return, the more you can put that energy out into the world, I feel Mother Earth, the universe, karma is all going to come back and pay you dividends, which I feel, incredibly fortunate for. I kind of feel like I'm in that area now.
I'd love to underline that, despite the modernization, despite the high technology and fast technology where we're in right now, and really advocating and at the forefront of it, what really matters at the end of the day is what's within and who we are as people, authentically, realistically, and what goes beyond technology, because let's all admit it, if you don't have the proper prompt from a person to chat GPT, it wouldn't spit out the proper answers, right? So I think it's really very important to be human in this really hyper focused digital world, which of course, hopefully, knock on wood, cannot outdo or outsmart humans like us. So going back to being human and being real about yourself, when you talk about looking up to someone as your role models or your mentors, I'm sure you have a lot as well, because you wouldn't be where you are today if you are not replicating or being inspired by other people. Who are those people and why do you look up to them?
I feel like a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, we like to promote that we're self-made and we worked hard to get there, and that can be very true. However, I feel like even though you didn't get monetary funding or specific backing, I feel like a lot of our past experiences and our mentors and our bosses and leaders have taught us a lot of valuable lessons that we took with us and helped inspire us. One of my first experiences, this was my first healthcare position. I was working as a receptionist and got into a billing position, and I was interviewing for the billing position. I was not qualified at all, but they still had me in for an interview. And I was asking them, I said, I'm really excited about the position. I think there's a lot of potential here and I'd love to grow and advance. But I'm not qualified. But you seem excited to potentially offer me a position. Why is that? And he told me, he said, skills, we can train for skills. We can teach you how to perform a job. But what we can't teach you is to have the right attitude. And that really stuck with me. If you are someone who is willing to learn, if you have a positive attitude, bosses, leaders, employers, clients are going to recognize that and they're going to want to work with you because all the skills can be trained and learned later on. After that experience, that was really the two women mentors I had. That was Katie and Kelly from that healthcare organization that gave me the idea to start the DJ business, introduced me to tools, gave me advice and tips and tricks. And that really catapulted my career. And from there, I realized, wow, there's a lot of benefit to learning from other entrepreneurs. And then I myself wanted to pay it forward as well. So many people in my past have been so generous with their time and their knowledge that I wanted to pay that forward too. So kudos to Katie and Kelly, to Yancey, my old manager. I mean, all of the wonderful, wonderful people in my life who have supported me, shared advice. Man, kudos to all of you. Thank you for everything.
It's really humbling and it's actually good to remind ourselves about our past and those people who've actually helped us to where we are today. And as a way to give back, for us to really find ways so that despite the success that we have right now, we will always look back and find ways to be able to thank people and do our part to be able to somehow make this world a little better. Talking about attitude, you've mentioned that that's really very important to you, and I'm sure that you have a lot of non-negotiable values as well that really grounds you. So what are these non-negotiables that you employ both in your personal and professional life?
Personally and professionally, I've been someone who always wanted to be honest and transparent, and I wanted to be just a good person overall. So when it comes to working with clients and just my personal life, I do have a set of morals that I follow, and especially in the world of digital marketing, because with any tool or knowledge comes responsibility. The way that you use these tools can either be for good or bad. Literally any tool out there. What's important to me is that I work with um, true people. I want real entrepreneurs, real business owners who have the right similar mindset as me. They're kind. They like to pay it forward, and that their focus is not just on the profits. because we have seen what a profit focused company can do. And unfortunately, when they no longer can innovate for a profit, they now remove services and benefits, and they'll lay off people 1 month, and then they'll announce a stock buyback the next month. And then they'll do some other very shady, questionable things that just don't sit right with me. So for me, I never want to work with a big box company. I only want to work with small to mid-sized firms. And the entrepreneur behind that business is really important to me too. If I get the vibe that they're just here for the money, and don't get me wrong, I want to demonstrate a return on investment for the strategies and practices we put in place, but it has to be more than that. It has to serve a purpose. It can't just be just about the money, because that doesn't fulfill me. I'm fortunate enough to have the DJ business support me full time, that I can be choosy with the marketing clients that I work with. And I'm not here to share my knowledge and tools and everything with a company who's going to use it for evil. That doesn't sit right with me. I'm gonna walk out that door and do the SpongeBob meme. All right, I'm gonna head out. So I'm gonna get out of there as quickly as possible. And I'd rather help the real true entrepreneurs, the mom and pop business owners, the solopreneurs, young and old, no matter their journey. I'd rather help them, because but everybody knows we don't need another Jeff Bezos. We don't need more of them. I'll get you close to it. I'm going to get you as rich and profitable as I can, but under the right circumstances, and know that you're going to pay it forward and use the money for the right purpose.
That is amazing. And I think, to your point, it's not about profits all the time, and really understanding your personal values that will be your North Star or your compass when it comes to your everyday is really very important. So I think that's a very sound advice and a really great example, especially for younger people who are probably listening to this conversation. So directing our attention to those younger folks, right? If there are Gen Zs or Gen Alphas, listening to us right now who are navigating their way when it comes to charting their career, what would be your piece of advice to those people who are finding their way through digital marketing and AI and the technology world that's happening right now?
Absolutely. To all the Gen Z and Alpha out there, definitely want to let you know your worth. And I think they're already using that. For instance, knowing their value in the workforce. A lot of us want to have purpose behind the work that we do. And if it's not going to serve a purpose, we're either going to find something different, or you better pay us a lot of money that can actually afford us a decent living. Because the struggles that they're going through are very similar to our generation. We had the boomers who had their own struggles in their own way, but you definitely see, just from an analytical data standpoint, the cost of living with percentage of this income going towards this necessity or essential within just to live. We kind of see what direction and how much worse it's getting, and more unaffordable, to be able to afford to live now. So my advice to them is, definitely go independent if you can, or find a job that serves value and can pay you a lot of money. For those who are independent, working their own service, know your value. Know when it's time to start raising your rates because of the value that you're providing, not just because, wow, this is the most money I've ever made ever, so that's why I justify my price. And that's okay too, especially early on, trying to get more reviews and referrals. Sometimes you need to start lower to demonstrate your worth. But know that you have a lot of value, and business owners will pay top dollar for that value. So when it comes to pricing your services and choosing who to work with, make sure that you focus on value-based pricing. So even though a project may only cost you 20 hours and you're charging 50 to 100 an hour, whatever it is, if that client is receiving $100,000 in value from $1,000 package, that's only 1% of their entire revenue budget. Typically, B2C companies spend 5 to 10% just on marketing. And if you're able to get those results consistently, you could easily charge $5 to $10,000 for that same campaign that you were running for $1,000, because of its value. So definitely let people know your value. Keep up the great work out there. Sorry you're inheriting all the problems that we couldn't fix when we were our age, but we're in this together. If you want to talk about it, let's let's get something going.
That is beautiful advice. And I love how specific and tangible the advice was. Last question, Chris. What does a meaningful life mean to you?
For me, the first concern, a meaningful life, I had to get some stability first. I needed some financial stability, and then I wanted time freedom as well. And that was why I originally got into entrepreneurship. I'm not a morning person. Waking up, doing your typical 9 to 5, spending 40 hours, and then it's an hour drive there, and then it's an hour drive back. And I get 2 hours to myself every evening, and I'm still struggling to pay bills. That does not sound like a fun life. And that may be something that millions of Americans and people around the world experience and are going through. Um, over time, I've kind of learned once the financial stability was there, I was able to automate a lot of my processes using tools, and that allowed me the time freedom. So I was very fortunate to get into the wedding DJ business, where that was a seasonal job. So we work spring, summer, and fall for a lot of our events, and then the winter time, we actually get to stay home and just work on admin tasks and then follow up with new requests for quotes. And that's really important, is finding that balance between getting that financial freedom and the time freedom, because that's important for me. Then once that's all handled, then comes the purpose, the meaning. If I could provide someone a service that gives them value, there's an exchange of value. But if I can impact one person's life and make them better, I talked earlier on about just the positivity, the vibes that you're giving out. So I like to use that in all of my work. So even early on, from the first wedding client I served back in 2014 and 2015, it was always that focus on great customer service, go above and beyond when you can. And I felt like, to me, that was my meaningful life. If I could impact someone positively just through my personality, hey, that's a win-win for me. And now I'm to a point where I'm able to do free consults for a lot of clients and entrepreneurs who are just starting out. Or if I'm doing an outreach and someone's interested, I'm going to put together some free content, social graphics, and give them some advice. Like, this is the easiest thing you can do this week to get some new leads. And once you get some new leads, call me for the next step, because I'm sure you're going to want more of those leads. So the meaningful life is just being a good person. That financial time security and paying it forward is kind of the long-winded answer to a meaningful life.
It's not long winded. It's very thoughtful, intentional, and hats off, because I think, Chris, you're crushing it. You can really hear and see someone with a good heart, a good soul, and good intentions. And with that, Chris, I want to give you the floor to let the audience know how they can reach you, what would be the best approach to consult you when it comes to their needs, and any other questions that they may possibly have, especially when it comes to digitizing and future proofing their startups.
I encourage anyone listening who wants to connect, just to chat, even if you may not think you're a potential client or customer. Please just reach out and have a conversation. I love connecting with people and learning. The more knowledge I can share, the better I feel about myself. So people can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. They can search Chris Troka or Christopher Troka. It's spelled T like in Tom, Roka. People can also find me online. I have christroka.com for myself. Our business is focus-biz.com. And that's where people can go to find out more about our website, technology and marketing services that we help to boost brands and businesses. And within there, I have my meeting calendar. So if you find an available appointment slot, grab a time on there. I'd love to do a video chat just to kind of see how things are going in business for you, maybe provide you some focus and clarity, and just build a good friendship, because I really feel like other entrepreneurs just need a little bit of boost just to get where they need to be, and then they're off to the races, and then suddenly they're accomplishing things they never thought they could. So if anyone wants to connect and reach out, I'd love to have a consult with you.
I definitely enjoy this conversation. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Chris, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well, Joseph. Thank you so much.